My daughter Calen had a history of tonsillitis, and her ENT wouldn't take out her tonsils and adenoids and put tubes in her ears until she was 2. So prior to that surgery, we had a Bayer test done at the Children's Hospital, and they found out that there was a hearing loss, but they thought it was due to all the fluid in her eustachian tubes. So at 2, when she had the surgery, we went back to the pediatrician's office 3 different times within the next 6 months, and I said, you know, we're not seeing the progress, she's not talking. And we were first told, be patient, she hasn't been hearing prior to the surgery, and it's going to take a little time. The second time I was told, don't be a pushy mother, give her time. The third time the pediatrician then said, I want you to call Child Find, and we're going to see what the problem is, why she's not talking. We went through all of the forms, very extensive, decided that we'd go on our vacation to the beach, and at that point then we'd get back to the actual testing through this private agency. But while we were there at the beach, we found out that when she took off running, we could not yell loud enough for her to stop. She just kept on going. And at one point we asked her, do you want to go outdoors? And she looked at us quizzically saying, ow. And at that point we had an inkling that maybe there was a hearing problem. You know, up to that point it didn't really even occur to us. We were so sure that she was cured from the tubes that were inserted in her ears. But when we got back home, we received a call from Child Find, and they went ahead and scheduled an appointment with UT Speech and Hearing, Child Hearing Services. At that point, we found out that she was moderately severe to severe with a hearing loss. They fitted her with hearing aids, and we then immediately started speech therapy. So for 3 months, we had the service of speech therapy through UT, which was wonderful. Then at age 3, we had to make the determination, do we continue with the UT, or do we go to another agency, and that would have been the Knox County School System, Child Find. We did the pros and the cons, and there was no difficulty in trying to decide where we were going to go. It was UT, hands down. And from that point, we said, okay, we want Calen to start kindergarten at an age-appropriate time. Knox County had said, tall order, it's going to take a lot of work. If she makes it into kindergarten, she probably won't make it through first grade. We've seen it time and time again. But UT said, can be done, it's going to take a lot of work, but we can do it. In fact, she was so ready for kindergarten, she was accepted into a private school, Webb, in Knoxville. And she's been going to Webb ever since. And she'll be a junior this year.
I wear 2 hearing aids. They're small though. I've had them ever since I was 3 years old, basically. To be precise, I've had them since age 2 years and 9 months.
She came for therapy in group very intensively when she was identified around 18 months of age. She was here 3 or 4 days a week, 3 hours a day. So, you know, like I said, it is deliberate. It requires a huge commitment on these parents' parts. Many of these parents that bring their children here drive at least 1 hour one way to get here. But it's really the only place they can come for their child to have this opportunity to have a voice and to learn how to listen and talk, and that's what they want for their children.
Without UT, she probably would not have been at Webb. Not only did the UT Child Hearing Services give her the service of speech therapy, but we also had the staff's full support. If we had any questions, they were right there. They even had the speech therapist come to the school and talk to her teachers so that they would be informed as what to expect because they had never had a hearing impaired child in their school before. We also learned through classes that UT provided how to deal with hearing impaired children. Also, with the UT's program, the parents had to watch the therapy through a two-way mirror. This gave the parents a support group that we would not have had anyplace else, because there you are with the other parents talking to each other about the problems, the development problems that you deal with, the behavioral problems that are something that you deal with when you have a hearing impaired child. So it was a wonderful support group, and also we learned speech therapy by watching the speech therapists work with our daughter. We in turn used everything that we learned and continued the speech therapy nonstop.
We repeated a lot of words and sounded them out. Sometimes over the radio or something, they would sound out a word and I would repeat it slowly, like for example, cat, cat.
The best thing about child hearing services here at UT has to be the staff. They are so caring and knowledgeable. At one point, Calen had been introduced new words, and I went ahead and said, "Oh, Calen, here's a synonym for that new word that you learned." When Velvet heard that we could be teaching synonyms at the same time, she jumped right on it. And I thought, that's why we come here to a teaching facility, is because whatever they've learned, they're consistently looking for better ways and new ways to teach their kids.
All the staff are really nice, and I am very impressed with the education. I can now speak and talk and hear pretty much just like everyone else, and usually people forget I'm hearing impaired, so I have to remind them. I think UT is just great.